The power of belief systems is often understated and sometimes not even considered when it comes to our negative conditions and our negative experiences of life. So, for example, we're constantly programmed by society, by media, by our parents, by our family. We're constantly being programmed into these belief systems. An example, just to illustrate the point, would be allergies. You might hear as a kid, oh, allergies run in the family, heart condition runs in the family. The innocent mind of the child picks it up and integrates it into our belief system to a point where it's subconscious. So we're not even aware that we picked up this belief system. And understanding that the source of our allergy or our condition is not that we're just the helpless victim of the vicissitudes of life. It's understanding that we actually hold on to the payoffs of what we are getting from our positions of being the victim of belief systems and these conditions that arise from that. And you might think, okay, like, prove it. I can't prove it, but a good example is during hypnosis, people are modified into a different state of consciousness where they're more suggestible. And this is the nature of the mind, is that it's suggestible. We'll believe what we hear. And if we don't believe what we hear, it's because we've been told to be skeptical. And we took that belief to be skeptical without skepticism, right? So when we're under a state of hypnosis, we can be hypnotized into no longer believing these negative belief systems. Or we can be hypnotized the other way into believing that we do have these conditions. So for example, we can hypnotize someone who's wearing wool pants to believe that they are allergic to wool. And then when they wake up, they don't remember that they got hypnotized. But all of a sudden, they're itching their legs, they're sweating, they feel the allergy even though they don't even remember that that belief system was planted in their subconscious. Here's the interesting thing. They won't say, oh, my legs are itchy because I'm allergic to wool. They'll say, I didn't sleep well last night, or I ate something weird. So the point is, we'll always justify these belief systems and positions and back them up in like this very like roundabout way. There'd be another example of someone who can be hypnotized into believing that they're no longer allergic. Let's say they've been allergic to roses their whole life. Then they are put under a state of suggestion. They believe that they're no longer allergic to roses. They forget, and then they wake up, they give them a rose, nothing happens. And this has actually been proven to be the case. We can deal with these programs by bringing it up to our awareness. And so we use our intuition, our higher mind, our higher intelligence, and ask ourselves, what programs am I under? You notice that fear of heights, that fear of someone with disease, and we become aware of it. We say, like, this is not a loving thought. This is a fearful thought. And A Course in Miracles says, nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So saying nothing unreal exists, meaning anything outside of the love of God is not real and has to be self-inflicted or projected, you could say. So uncovering these unconscious beliefs is a huge part of making our life better. And there's two main things. The first is to become aware of it. And the second thing is letting go of the payoff that we get. And so we get this secret, devious little pleasure from being the victim of our conditions. Be like, it's not my fault, like my parents made me this way. It's just my genetics. And we get this like juice, this pleasure of like being right about being so hurt and ill. And a good remedy for this is to state constantly whenever this negative belief system comes up that I'm an infinite being and I'm not subject to this. I'm an infinite being. I'm not subject to osteoporosis. I'm an infinite being. I'm not subject to being allergic to bee stings. I'm an infinite being. I'm not subject to fear. And using this as a reprogramming tool, because what we say, what comes out of our mouth goes into our ears, and we hypnotize ourselves. This is a very profound realization, and if we can apply this to even the smallest things, there's really no limit to which this can be applied. But by being more conscious of our programming and ask ourselves, truly being like, is this really what I believe, or is this just a program that I've downloaded out of my own innocence? But once you realize this, you can take responsibility for your own innocence and be like, this served me up to a point. I no longer want to be subject to this negativity. And then at which point you can let it go.